Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So I know, again, we're doing this on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday. Just mix things up a little bit. No, I've got some commitments the next couple of Thursdays, so please do keep that in mind. Now, it has been another very, very big week in the news again this week. Got a couple of important articles to get through, so let's get straight into it. Now, the first big news of this week has been the apparent about turn by the man that we all love to hate, none other than good old Bill Gates, and his stance on climate change. So here's what he had to say this week. There's the article there for those that want to look it up. And it says, Bill Gates declares a doomsday view of climate change is misguided, calls on COP30 leaders to refocus on improving lives in stunning reversal. Billionaire Microsoft founder Bill Gates has taken aim at the doomsday view of climate change and called for global efforts to aggressively reduce carbon emissions to be redirected towards economic growth and disease prevention. In a post to his Gates Notes website overnight, Gates urged COP30 leaders who will meet in Brazil next week to make a strategic pivot away from the world's focus on near-term emissions targets. Gates said climate change is a serious issue but would not lead to humanity's demise, and that the doomsday view was diverting resources away from improving lives in a warming world. Gates' write-up was headlined 3 Tough Truths About Climate Change, with the first being that climate change will not be the end of civilization and that using more energy was a good thing, which correlated with economic prosperity and growth. It was published a day after the UN announced the world had missed its 1.5 degree climate target. Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the failure would have devastating consequences from the Amazon to coral reefs. The billionaire philanthropist said the COP30 climate summit was a chance to refocus on something more important, that emissions and temperature change, improving lives. Gates said that although climate change will hurt poor people more than anyone else, for the vast majority of them, it may not be the biggest threat to their lives. You think? He said disease and poverty were the biggest problems for the world's poorest, and that health and prosperity was the best defense against climate change. Who would have thought? Gates said the 2 priorities for the COP30 leaders to consider and embrace were to drive down green premium costs to zero and be rigorous in measuring the impacts of climate policies. Our choices should be guided by data-based analysis that identifies ways to deliver the highest return for human welfare, Gates wrote. Almost like he actually cares about people. So I urge the community at COP30 and beyond to make a strategic pivot, prioritise the things that have the greatest impact on human welfare. Well, look, as I said, it all sounds good in theory. I mean, look, I would personally never listen to anything the man has to say, but unfortunately, plenty of people do. So in this particular instance, if people take note, especially the good old Facebook fact checkers who love to jump on anybody that dares to say that, climate change isn't the be all and end all, then who knows? Some people might actually finally start to wake up to the very simple fact that the temperature of the planet goes up and down all the time and has done since its formation. This is nothing new, people. So I guess, as always, we'll just have to wait and see if anyone actually takes note. Now, the other big news of this week was the absolutely insane proposal to reduce rural speed limits from 100 kilometres an hour down to an absolute glacial pace of just 70 kilometres an hour on open rural roads. Now, as I've explained more times than I can possibly count, most rural accidents are actually just single vehicle accidents where the driver has fallen asleep and run off the road and hit a tree or something because they're so tired because they're driving at these ridiculously low 100 kilometers an hour instead of the 130, 150, 180, 200 Ks that they do all day, every day, completely safely all over Europe and the like. So reducing these speed limits even further down to 70 kilometers an hour would be the absolute worst thing that they could possibly do. So again, here is the article in case anybody's missed it. And here's what it says. Anthony Albanese's government. Again, just a reminder, it's not actually his government. He might be in charge of it, but it's not his government. Okay, it's the Australian government. Considering major change to road rules in Australia, what drivers need to know. A proposal to reduce country road speed limits to as low as 70 kilometres an hour has sparked anger from motorists, as well it should. The Federal Department of Infrastructure is consulting on options to cut the default speed limit on rural roads outside built-up areas, currently 100 kilometres an hour, as part of their efforts to reduce Australia's rural road toll. The review was initiated under Albanese Government Infrastructure Minister Catherine King, whose department is leading the consultation on whether to lower default speed limits on rural roads. The proposed change could be a major blow for truck drivers, farmers, tradies and holiday makers if adopted by governments across the country. The consultation outlines 3 options for sealed roads, reducing default open speed limits to 90 kilometres an hour, 80 kilometres an hour or 70 kilometres an hour, and 2 options for unsealed roads, 80 kilometres an hour or 70 kilometres an hour. According to the proposal paper, reducing the number of people killed and injured on Australia's roads is a priority for all governments. Really? Then how about introducing some true road safety initiatives rather than all these blatant revenue-raising ones, constantly reducing speed limits just so they can make more money from people that still exceed them. Nationals leader David Littleproud MP slammed the proposal as lazy government and a disingenuous approach to road safety reform. Poor road conditions remain one of the most prominent issues that locals are facing, with plenty of roads in desperate need of repair, he said. Exactly. Let's start by fixing the roads first and foremost. The solution to help make our rural roads safer is to maintain and upgrade the roads themselves, not to slow down regional productivity. Hallelujah, somebody out there still has a brain. If adopted, the proposed speed limits will be included in the Australian Road Rules, a document of model laws which form the basis of the road rules in each Australian state and territory. The Australian road rules are not national law that are in force across Australia, but each state and territory has copied the rules into their own laws. However, not every provision in the Australian road rules has been copied exactly in each state and territory, which is why, of course, we see all of those variations. But yeah, I mean, this proposal is just absolutely ridiculous and is only going to increase the rural road toll, not reduce it at all. So, as always, as I keep saying on these videos, I urge you please to write to your local, state and federal MPs and make your thoughts on this insane proposal very, very clearly known. And be sure to tell them that if they genuinely want to make our roads safer, then A, how about you fix them, okay? And B, urge them to actually grab a copy of the Aussie Speeding Fines book and actually read it and go through all of the true road safety initiatives that these guys have been proposing for nearly 20 years now, which will actually genuinely make our roads safer for all motorists. Okay, as always, you'll find a link in the description and in the comments section. And of course, if they ignore your words and they just barrel on ahead and push ahead, then of course anyone that gets a fine should absolutely challenge it using that tried, tested and proven 3-step process in chapter 3 of that book, so that we can ensure that they don't make 1 single cent from what is clearly just another blatant revenue raising exercise. All right, now on the topic of insane motoring proposals, check out the latest push for a national driver's license with facial recognition that is now being pushed once again. Here is the article in case you've missed it. And it is entitled, National Photo License Recognition System Set to Go Live in 2025, 8 years after the system was first proposed. So at least that's a little bit of good news that it has been dragging on and they didn't get to do it when they wanted to. The Australian government is set to launch its long-awaited National Driver Licence facial recognition solution by the end of the year, nearly a decade after the system was first proposed. The Attorney General's Department has quietly revealed it plans to make the NDLFRS, National Driver's License Facial Recognition System, operational this year, enabling people to use their state or territory driver license to biometrically verify their identity through the federal government's Face Verification Service, FVS. This integration will allow facial images from both passports and driver's licenses to be used within a single system for biometric verification, both as a means of secure service access and helping the federal government prevent identity fraud. Yeah, right. Western Australia will be the first state to make its licence data available for verification by government users through the FVS before the end of 2025, with expansion to private organisations expected by early next year. This is how quickly they're trying to push and roll this out. Okay, so they want to get all your data, all your biometrics, and then share that with private corporations as early as next year. AGD added that it is currently working with remaining jurisdictions to make their data available through the NDLFRS. Moves to create the NDLFRS began in 2017 when federal, state and territory leaders agreed to create a centralised database of biometric templates from facial images provided by their respective agencies. However, the rollout was hampered after the coalition government was unable to pass the Identity Matching Services Bill in 2019. Why were they unable to pass it? Because enough people objected, bombarded their local and state and federal MPs with objections to that bill being passed, and of course it was not. Now, unfortunately, as it goes on to say, 4 years later, the incoming Labor government, there's a surprise, introduced two bills to Parliament, the Identity Verification Services Bill 2023 and Identity Verification Services Consequential Amendments Bill, which represented a scaled-back version of the earlier legislation. The two bills were subsequently passed, because not enough people knew about them and objected to them, by Parliament and came into effect in December 2024, providing the legislative basis for the NDLFRS and other verification services. As a result of the new legislation, the earlier agreements with Victoria, Tasmania and South Australia are required to be refreshed to meet the requirements of the Act. Today, the NDLFRS is housed in a Canberra data centre. What could possibly go wrong? And will be managed by Fujitsu until June 2026, and the total value of the agreement reaching $50 million. The Australian government is committed to protecting Australians from identity crime. Really? Are you sure? Then why would you put it all on one centralised database? Why would you put all that data in that one spot? Especially everything, that we've been talking about with data breaches, hacks, server issues. We spoke about them on the last, update as well. Now, obviously, I shouldn't need to tell anybody who's actually watching this video to make sure that their friends, family, anybody that they know refuses to sign up to this Big Brother system, which is essentially just one small step away from digital ID. Now, speaking of digital ID, if you haven't already done so after my last video update, please make sure you add your signature to the official Australian Parliament petition against the digital ID. Now, again, there should be a link going up in the comments, and we'll pop one in the description for you as well. Now, there has currently been almost 27,000 signatures, which of course is a really great start, but it is definitely well short of the 2.8 million signatures that they got in the UK recently for a very similar petition. So come on, Aussies, lift your game. Add your signature to that petition, and then be sure to pass the details of that petition around to everybody that you know. And if anybody asks you, why signing that petition or not uploading your data to government sites is so important, then you can just simply explain to them that A, once you've uploaded that data, it can never ever be removed, and B, once it's out there, as we've explained many times, there are literally endless ways that that data can be hacked, breached, or misused. Now, as I said just before, I explained on my last video update just last week how easily that can actually happen, even to some of the biggest companies in the world. And unfortunately, there was another perfect example of that, again, just this week, where it was reported that 183 million Gmail passwords were stolen. So if you or anyone you know uses a Gmail account, please make sure you read this article and take note of the website that is mentioned in it. So this is what it says. Urgent warning to Gmail users, as 183 million passwords are stolen in data breach. Here's how to check if your account is affected. Gmail users have been urged to check their accounts after it was revealed that more than 183 million passwords were stolen in a data breach. Australian cyber expert Troy Hunt, who revealed the incident, called it a vast corpus of breached data, which totals 3.5 terabytes. That's how much data was just stolen. To put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of 875 full-length HD movies. According to Mr. Hunt, all of the major providers have email addresses in there, so not just Gmail, but Outlook, Yahoo, and others too. They're from everywhere you could imagine, but Gmail always features heavily, Hunt told the Daily Mail. So, have you been caught up in the incident? Here's how to check if your email data has been compromised. To check if you've been compromised, head to the Have I Been Pawned, and that's PWNED website. So Have I Been Pawned, PWNED. Okay, if you type that into your search engine, or of course if you go to that article, there's a direct link to it, and then you can just enter your email address in the search bar. Next, you just tap on the button marked check, and the site will show you the list of data breaches that affects your email address. Now, even if you're not included in the recent Gmail breach, your details may have been involved in past breaches going back a full decade. So if you are one of the 183 million people affected in this latest incident, you need to change your email password as soon as possible. Once that is done, be sure to enable two-factor authentication if you haven't already, which sends a code to your smartphone to get into your online accounts. According to Mr. Hunt, this incident is not a single breach, but a collection of stealer logs, which he says is a series of data files generated and compiled by malware or malicious software. We're not talking about one company getting hacked, but millions of people unknowingly having their passwords stolen through malware. With 183 million email addresses exposed, it's possible that many people could be caught up in this without even realizing their computers have been compromised. So again, do be sure to get that article and click that link, and make sure that you check and find out whether, just basically check the integrity of your email account. And again, we would urge you to please do that for yourselves, and then again pass this video or at least that article on to everyone else that you know, especially if they use Gmail. And again, on the subject of Gmail, I've said this many times before, but you really need to consider moving away from Gmail because it's owned by Google. So firstly, they censor, and secondly, they track everything. If you want a really great, secure, free email account, then as always, we do recommend Proton Mail. Again, just type that into your search engine, it'll come up. You can sign up for that. It's a free account, and it's far, far more secure, and it's not censored and tracked and all the rest of it like Gmail is. All right, now the other thing with all of these hacks and breaches and outages and server problems and all the rest of it, you know, and how that links to all of your personal data, the key is to understand, okay, that digital ID, okay, is that absolutely necessary step that the system needs everybody to comply with in order to bring in their cashless agenda, which is now something that they are pushing for harder than ever. I touched on this again last week, but here is another reminder article of what they are doing right now and why we need to push back harder than ever. So this is what it says. Anthony Albanese's government. Again, it's not his government. So I don't know why these media people still keep calling it his government. But anyway, accused of green-lighting the phasing out of cash in Australia. Treasurer Jim Chalmers has hit back at claims his plan to protect Australians' rights to pay with cash is a sham. Really? Wow. Under the new industry code, only large supermarkets and major petrol chains will be required to accept cash, and only for purchases under $500. Smaller retailers, government agencies and most businesses will be exempt from the so-called cash mandate, meaning they can continue refusing cash payments without penalty. Independent MP for Calare, Andrew Gee, slammed the push during question time on Tuesday, calling it a green light for the phasing out of cash in Australia. The government's regulation only covers supermarkets and major fuel retailers and only for transactions under $500, he said. With respect, it's a green light for the phasing out of cash in Australia. Cash is vital during outages or disasters. It's about preserving choice and freedom. Gee has introduced his own Keeping Cash Transactions in Australia bill, which would require all businesses to accept cash for face-to-face purchases under $10,000. Now that is a significant step. Chalmers defended the government's approach, saying it followed an extensive consultation process earlier this year, including 61 organisational submissions and 4,000 individual responses. Well, it can't be that extensive if only 61 organisations in the whole country responded, and out of 25 million people, only 4,000 individuals responded. That doesn't seem that comprehensive to me. So maybe he might want to go back to the drawing board and try and do it properly. We don't want to place unnecessary burdens on small businesses, particularly in regions, he said. You know, the same small businesses that have been using cash for the last 100 years without any problem, but now all of a sudden it's a burden on them. After that extensive consultation, we think we've got the balance right. Well, Jim, try again, because you absolutely haven't. The Treasurer confirmed the government will review the mandate after 3 years, considering whether to expand the rules and assess their impact on businesses and cash distribution. We know cash still plays an important role in the lives of many Australians. Right now, there's no obligation. We're changing that. Yeah, minimally. You're changing it minimally. And still there are more and more businesses out there that continue to refuse to accept cash, more banks closing down branches, more banks shutting down ATMs, and making it harder and harder for people to use and access cash. The move follows mounting pressure from advocates warning that digital-only payments risk leaving vulnerable Australians behind. Nearly 5,000 ATMs have vanished across Australia in just 5 years as the shift towards digital banking accelerates. So there you have it, people. You know, it is crystal clear. They're not hiding what they're doing with it at all. Okay. So again, I urge you, please make sure that you write to your local, state and federal MPs and even to the Treasurer himself directly, okay, and, you know, make it crystal clear, okay, what your thoughts are on this relentless push to phase out cash. Now, as I've said before, if we all band together, okay, and make our voices heard, like all the people who refused to sign up for the Director ID, like all the people that voted against the ridiculous Voice to Parliament referendum. If we all do that collectively, okay, we absolutely can defeat them, and they will be forced to back down, but only if enough people act, okay? As I say all the time at our live events, if it is to be, it's up to me. Okay, don't leave it for others to do everything. Be sure to do your bit too. Okay, I run these, live weekly updates. They take around 2 hours to prepare for each and every week. The team, obviously, Darren, Darrell and myself run fortnightly radio shows. They take even longer to prepare for, and we do that completely free of charge, week in, week out. So surely if we can do all of that, then you, your family, your friends can just write the odd letter, here or there, and make your voices known, okay, to those who are elected to represent us. Okay, we're not asking everyone to go out there and do what I do, but just do your bit and just put pen to paper or finger to keyboard, as the case may be, and just write those letters and keep the pressure on them. Now, speaking of what I do week in and week out, just a heads up for any of our more recent viewers, and of course a reminder for our longer time viewers, that the next few weeks are the busiest weeks of the year for me with my annual work for the Melbourne Cup event. So we will have people checking orders and getting all of those out, but if I can ask that everybody keeps any non-urgent emails, please, to a minimum. That really would be very, very helpful because I'm going to have very, very limited time over the next 10 days to respond to them. Now, also, very quickly, a heads up, I actually forgot the date myself. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. So again, just letting everybody know that next week's video update will also, of course, be on the Wednesday night, not the Thursday night, which is a race night. So we will definitely be back to normal after that, though. All right, now, finally, one last thing before I finish off. Don't forget that we did recently announce a very special extra bonus overview webinar, which we're going to be running on Sunday, the 16th of November. As the name suggests, the webinar is going to be an overview of our most important and popular topics that we ran from the webinar series this year, namely fines, the Commonwealth Constitution, and court process, procedure and paperwork. So we're going to break those topics down even further and in even more detail than we did in the earlier webinars this year. So it's going to be a really, really great event for any newbies or beginners to attend. So if that's you or you know someone who could benefit from that event, then please make sure that you do secure your spot via the relevant link. It should be going up in the comment section. Otherwise, just go to the seminars tab, then you'll find the webinars tab, and then you'll find it on the drop down menu there. And just one last thing, just to let everyone know, we did just have a brand new run of our affidavit and submission CDs, as well as our court success packs, which include those other additional discs as well. They have been very, very popular over the last couple of weeks with people who really want to make sure that they've got everything in order to win their cases in court, and especially from those people who want to get their paperwork 100% right. So if that sounds like it's of interest or importance to you, then again, you can look up either the affidavit and submission CD, and again, you should find a link in the comment section, or you can look up the whole Court Success Pack, which also has the FOI and the Constitution Commission reports, and it's all explained there in those links on the website, or you can find them on the shop page as well. And if you put those orders in, as I said, we've got people checking orders, and they will be sent out straight to you via express post. All right, so as always, I am going to finish off with a lot of latest memes to get people thinking about what's going on at the moment. And this one obviously speaks for itself. Obviously, I spoke recently about the all the new cameras that they want to put up in Melbourne CBD, and of course in other places as well. And of course, it's there for your safety and convenience. And the minute they tell you something's for your safety and convenience, that's when, of course, you start to worry. And yes, with all the ridiculous things that this stupid woman's been spouting about how Melbourne's safe and the machete bins are working and all the rest of the rubbish, as it says there, Jacinta Allen is a lot like glow sticks. Sometimes you just want to snap them and shake the crap out of them until the lights come on. Sadly, I don't think there's much hope for her. Yes, and speaking of politicians, someone sent this through the other day and I had a giggle over that, so you might like that one too. So it says, what's the difference between a politician and a flying pig? And that, of course, would be the letter F. So there you go. All right, yes, this one again makes a lot of sense, and yet they still keep getting away with it. And that's the worry. Crazy how the internet cannot eliminate child pornography, the root demand for child trafficking, but can censor, block and delete all conspiracy theories and, of course, facts. Oh, and contact trace those who've been in contact with COVID, but not those who steal and molest kids. I wonder why that is. And finally, with all the negativity there is, as always, still hope. People are definitely waking up, and that's why we keep doing what we do week in, week out to try and help that process. So there's a percentage of people who are starting to wake up from the trance. There's another percentage who will continue to defend the lie because admitting they were wrong would threaten their very existence. For some, the spell cannot be broken. For them, there's nothing we can do. But for those who are waking up, for those who are starting to question, for those who are starting to discuss some of these topics, we need to keep feeding them this information and helping them to wake up out of that trance once and for all. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to make use of all the various resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up and get proactive. As always, these videos are completely free to watch. Now you will find them under the Reels tab. So Facebook have renamed the Videos tab to the Reels tab. And of course, any that are over 30 days old, they have deleted now. So if you want to access any of our past videos, just go to our BitChute channel or our YouTube channel, and that's the best thing to do. Just subscribe to those, and that way you won't miss any new videos that come out. As always, there's plenty of free information on our websites. Our radio shows held every second week. Usually, just a reminder, there'll be no live radio show next Tuesday, of course, due to the Melbourne Cup holiday, but we will be doing 2 back-to-back shows at the end on the 9th and 16th of December to make up for that, so you won't miss out on any shows. And of course, we're back live on the 11th of November for our next live radio show. Again, a reminder, next week's video update will be on the Wednesday night again instead of the Thursday. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond what we cover on these videos and in those radio shows, please make sure you grab a copy of the Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. That Aussie Speeding Fines book that I mentioned before for successfully challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. And of course, we do know a lot of people are still genuinely struggling financially. So please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans, at your credit cards, personal loans, things like that. Make sure you grab that Bank Secrets Revealed book. Use that tried, tested and proven 4-step process to discharge any of those unsecured debts. As always, you can get these individually. There's links in the description. You can get them as part of the combo pack. You do, of course, get that tote bag included as a little bonus, no extra charge. Don't forget, we do have our caps and beanies. As always, pop those on. People see the logo, they come, they have a chat, and it is a great way to meet like-minded people. I mentioned before about the webinar coming up on the 16th of November. If you can't make that for whatever reason, or if you want to refresh on any information we've covered at any other events, do make sure you grab our home study course, which is a complete recording of one of our 2.5-day live events. There's 3 custom-made workbooks where you can write notes next to every single slide from every single presentation. There's 17 DVDs. DVDs that you can put in, pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home, and of course at your own pace. And it is a fantastic resource that you can come back to again and again over the years. As always, you'll find links to those in the description. So I'll leave things there. For those of you who are in Melbourne and most likely going to take a long weekend, I hope you enjoy your long weekend. And I'll speak to everyone again next Wednesday night. Until then, take care.